So something absolutely crazy just happened that changes all the known Void lore as well as pretty much the entire scope of the World Soul Saga. The Void Lords that we so feared for all these years literally don't even exist. In 11.2 we learned Dimensius devoured multiple of them and he was destroyed like 100,000 years ago. We now learned that he was the final Void Lord, meaning Void Lords haven't been a thing for a really long time. Meaning Xal'ataths' plan is absolutely insane. We just learned about her taking a new Void Naaru from Argus, corrupting the new Darkwell, and also meaning that all the previous lore has been changed. The old gods didn't betray the Void Lords because they don't even exist. Sargeras created a legion to fight the Void, but led by whom? So let's examine this brand new, absolutely crazy lore from the Midnight Alpha. If you wanted anything Warcraft related, Gamo has the best deals on the market that you can get with my link below. You can get almost every other game's software, and they also just added mobile top-ups for all your favorite mobile games with the craziest prices. You can also use my code DORON to get yet another discount, so click my link and get the best deals at Gamo. Looks like much bigger things are ahead than we had originally imagined. If you guys remember my old predictions, I was thinking that Zelat is planning to summon Dimensius the Old Devouring in Midnight, but that was quickly revealed to not be the case when he ended up being the final boss in 11.2 in the war with him. My second speculation, which is still relevant of course, was that she plans to do a migration of the Void into a more powerful, higher energy realm, which is based on a new ethereal book, which could mean that this could break the mechanism that is holding everything in place. If you're not sure what this even means, check out my previous Cosmology and Sargeras video. However, what is even more interesting is the fact that the Void Lords are apparently no longer a thing and no one saw this coming. So Void Lords were first introduced in the Chronicle. They were thought to be like the equivalent of the Titans, sometimes even more powerful than them, but they were jealous of the Titans because they couldn't manifest themselves in the material plane. However, that started changing over time. According to the updated lore, the Void Lords were not really a pantheon like the Titans were, an organization, but it was kinda similar to the old gods. Like sometimes they cooperate, but they seem very chaotic, and this makes sense because this really is the true nature of the Void. However, now the current updated lore is even crazier than that, meaning Void Lords don't even exist, which changes pretty much all the Void lore and speculations that we previously had. We learned a few of their names, but never their true numbers or original numbers, but so far we heard of about 4 or 5 of them. Now in 11.2, when we went to Kalesh, Dimensius the Old Devouring had this ability where he used the Void Lords that he had previously devoured, and then through this ability we learned that he apparently devoured or taken over at least 2 of them. This got us to wonder, what even are the Void Lords and how do they even work? They're definitely not the Titans, as these guys are like giant Void Pac-Mans, like eating each other and just getting bigger themselves. However, an even bigger Void bomb came in a few days back when we learned 2 things. Dimensius the Old Devouring was apparently the last Void Lord, and second, Xal'ataths took over his essence, which in a way implies that she's either a new Void Lord or she plans to end the age of Void Lords and begin the new age of whatever, I don't know, we'll figure that out. One thing that is really interesting is what this means for the lore, because it is important to keep in mind that recently in 11.2 we learned that the invasion of Kalesh happened at least 100,000 years ago, which is a really long time. Back then, Xal'ataths had betrayed him, destroyed him, but his fragments remained, which prompted the new storyline when he united, which is 11.2. This is a different topic, but the point is, if Dimensius broke back then, he definitely didn't devour anyone, so he has been the last Void Lord for like, what, 100,000 years? Keep in mind, this was literally like probably during the time of the Black Empire on Azeroth, which implies Void Lords literally didn't even exist for 100,000 years. So no, the old gods didn't betray the Void Lords, there was no one to betray. The old gods may have been the old Void Lord tools, now obsolete, and Xal'ataths came in to do her thing, but they outsmarted her and they delayed her plan by like 100,000 years. This creates an even more interesting implication for the story, because did you notice a pattern? This imposed mechanism really seems to be breaking, and most of these cosmological guys are literally on the brink of destruction, and they have been on the brink of destruction for a really long time. Like, we learned the Titans have been defeated ages ago by Sargeras. They currently exist as these avatars. The Warlords apparently, according to the new lore, don't even exist. The Legion destroyed most of the worlds. Shadowland works in a weird way. The Jailer was imprisoned. Demons have been ravaged as well. It really appears like we're at the end of things, and soon something just has to break. All these forces are depleted and super desperate at this point. However, if the Void Lords don't exist anymore, and Xal'ataths just took the essence of the last one that had the essence of the others, what does that make her? Is she turning into a new Void Lord herself, or does she plan to do something else? Because according to this new lore, Xal'ataths is going to become way more powerful than Dimensius ever even imagined. So we actually got some spoilers from the Midnight Alpha here, but Xal'ataths has some plan that is still, of course, mysterious. Once we get to the Sunwell, we realized that Xal'ataths had used the Dark Naaru Lura to create a new thing called the Darkwell, aka the Void Sunwell. If you guys remember Lura, that was a naaru that stayed during the original invasion of Argus to fend off demons and was imprisoned in the seat of the Triumvirate, turning into the Void as millennia had passed. Xal'ataths now got a hold of this naaru, corrupted the Sunwell, because remember, the Sunwell was restored back in the day with another light naaru that Xal'ataths brought in. We see in the new encounter that Sunwell is just called the Darkwell. We get a line that if the Sunwell falls, so too does the world, and we're kind of at the stage right now where we don't really know what this truly means. I mean, the Sunwell is definitely more important than we originally believed. You might be wondering, like, what even is all this fuss about the Sunwell? Originally, this was just a few vials of the Well of Eternity that empowered the elves, but the new Sunwell is completely different. It's not the Sunwell that Arthas could destroy back in Warcraft 3. Back in TBC, it was restored with the help of the naaru, and currently it is a light thing. I mean, we just saw the army of the light summoned through this power source, and now Xal'ataths brought in another naaru to essentially change it into the Void. Keep in mind though, she didn't use the Dark Heart yet, that has everything from Gallocron to Dimensius inside, but she used another naaru, which means something else is going to happen as well with the Dark Heart. Personally, I think the old Xal'ataths Whisper is going to get developed. Do you remember when she talked about the naaru and how they're long-lost brethren and how they should seek the true way? Also, remember how the naaru have this tendency to become void gods? I mean, this is still a massive mystery, but both sides of the naaru are creating the Sunwell and the Darkwell. As I said in the older videos, I don't think Xal'ataths plans to take over Azeroth. I think the goal is really to destroy Azeroth, as all the recent cosmology stuff indicates that Azeroth is holding this artificial mechanism together. It's not just getting another base for the Void, it's implied in the new cosmology that who breaks the mechanism is going to get it all and to become the only dominant force in the universe, able to do whatever they want. Xal'ataths apparently has the craziest villain aspirations yet out of anyone we had ever faced. It's probably what Sargeras tried to do, but he essentially failed. She's not going to become a Void Lord or a Void God, but something entirely different, a completely different Void breed, Void villain that we had never seen in the past before. This explained why she was always condescending to the old gods. She probably just saw them as glorified minions of the Void Lords, and she has now surpassed the Void Lords. I'm not sure they're going to name whatever she plans to do, like a Void Emperor or I don't know what, but it is really interesting that there is no other Void power, apparently like Void Authority, currently able to compete with her, and currently this new lore implies that there hasn't been a Void leader in a really long time, which does make me wonder, what was Sargeras even fighting then? Because we know he created the Legion 25,000 years ago, apparently to fight the Void Lords, yet they don't even exist. That was like only a quarter of the time. I think this might just be unexplained, it might be a retcon, it might be an inconsistency, or Blizzard might kind of backtrack on this of him being the last Void Lord. However, based on the new lore, really this World Soul Saga is not another invasion power grab. It really does seem like breaking the universe. This is really what our beloved Zoal meant when he said what is to come. Thanks for watching. Check out my video on how the light is finally going evil with the new lore we just got from the alpha by clicking on the screen, and also check out my video on the Greek mythology and the Greek titans that I've recorded live on site in the Italian mountains by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time!